In English class, we're often taught that the bigger the word, the better. And some of us definitely remember spending hours studying SAT vocab words. Many newer writers think that using lofty, multisyllabic words will elevate their writing on a literary level and make it sound more impressive. But remember that your story is not a game of Scrabble. You don't get more points for bigger words. And in many cases, the most straightforward, simplistic language is the most effective language. In fact, Stephen King talks about vocabulary in his amazing craft book on writing. One of my favorite pieces of advice he gives is, remember that the basic rule of vocabulary is to use the first word that comes to your mind if it is appropriate and colorful. In other words, try simply saying what you mean in your story, and resist the urge to reach for a thesaurus and find a more complicated way of saying it, because oftentimes that more complicated phrasing will sound unnatural. It is true that you will want to vary your prose, particularly if you find yourself using a pet phrase over and over, but in general, don't overthink it. And don't shy away from using straightforward, simple language. Here's an example of using too much flowery vocabulary that really obscures the meaning of what the writer is trying to say. She commenced an expedited traipse down the convoluted thoroughfare, assailed by the symphony of passing vehicles. Really, you can distill this down to the bare bones of what's going on. She walked quickly down the crowded street as cars whirred past her.